Hello, welcome to Free Daily Bread blog. This is our first in a series of modern miracles. And if you think about miracles, we read about miracles in the Bible, most notably in Genesis 1:1. God created the heaven and the earth in 6 days. Um, Moses parted the Red Sea. David defeated Goliath. And then in the New Testament, you hear stories about Jesus, um, not only his crucifixion and his resurrection, but the stories of Jesus healing, um, making the blind see, the deaf hear. He raised Lazarus from the dead. He uh, he was a modern miracle worker, and many, many other stories in the Bible, both Old Testament and New Testament. But what about modern miracles? What miracles happen today, or are they still happening? The good news is yes, they're still happening. They're happening all around us. So we're starting a series called Modern Miracles. And our first story is about a great woman named Yesenia who had a series of challenges, health challenges with cancer. She had career challenges, monetary and financial challenges. And you're going to hear from her shortly about how she overcame those challenges through faith and prayer. And it's a great story, and hopefully you can take something from her story and learn from it, and it'll give you hope. Hope that there is someone out there that can heal you or save you and help you. And of course, that's our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. So I hope you enjoy the story. And it's a fascinating story. And here's part 1 of 3. Enjoy the story. Thank you.
Hi everyone, I'm Yesenia, and I am so glad to be here with you to share my story. This past 2 decades, I've been in the fast-paced world of real estate and at the same time raising 3 amazing boys. This past 4 years have truly reshaped my path. I was someone who was heavily invested in personal achievements over anything else. In this past 4 years, I went on a profound spiritual journey that completely transformed my life. And I really hope that I can share something with you that is going to inspire you and help you in your journey. In 2019, I remarried, and prior to that, I really felt like I had this calling.
Mm-hmm.
I had like this spiritual calling, and I was trying to ignore it. Because I was really busy with real estate and planning a wedding and planning a new life.
You mean
and
your
just
wedding?
creating,
You were planning
yes,
your
planning
wedding.
my wedding,
Yes.
and just creating this whole new life that I was so excited about. And
Would you say this was one of the best times of your life? 2019?
Yes, it was really exciting.
Mm-hmm.
It was a very exciting time of my life, and I just felt that everything that I wanted, I was getting, and it wasn't forceful at all.
Mm-hmm.
It was something that I would just set my mind, I'm gonna do ABC, and ABC will just like unfold in front of me, right? As I'm doing all these things and I am excited and I'm just motivated, because that's the word. I was motivated and I was excited. I just had something in me that was in a way kind of like asking me to like slow down,
Mm-hmm.
or to look somewhere else, because there was something bigger that I needed to do.
Right.
And I just kept ignoring that.
So you could probably say that, certainly it was the best time of you met the man of your dreams.
Mm-hmm.
You guys, I think, if I remember from your story, you guys went out and you bought a brand new house, or you bought a new house.
Yes.
You were in the process of decorating it and doing all these things. Your
Yes.
boys seem really attached to him
Yes.
as a father figure. And so it seems like at that point your business was going well, right?
Mm-hmm.
Things were going well in your
Mm-hmm.
business. And it seemed like at that point everything was going really well in your life.
Yes. It
But yet
seemed like that.
but yet you said in your story that if somebody looked on the at you from the outside, they think you got this great life, but on the
Mm-hmm.
inside, and really on the inside, meaning on your inside, you
Mm-hmm.
felt something missing, or you felt something lacking, or you felt something.
Yes. Yeah.
So,
And it was bigger than that. It was
mm-hmm,
bigger than something missing because I don't. Well, yeah, there was something missing, right? But it was something that was keeping me up at night,
mm-hmm,
that I was trying to figure out what was that was making me so uncomfortable and creating so much anxiety,
right,
where I just got to the point where I was not sleeping.
mm-hmm,
I was not sleeping. I was getting headaches every day, and everything just seemed like my body, like my physical body, was falling apart.
right. So you get the perfect life.
Yeah.
You got everything that everybody wants, the house with the white picket, although I don't remember if it had a white picket fence. But anyway, you got the house with the fence and all that. You got everything anybody could wish for, but yet internally something was going on.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And so, again, looking at your story, it seems like you felt something inside basically asking for a change when all these changes are going on around you, but yet something inside of you saying something's not right, right?
Right, right. So this is gonna sound a little crazy. So what happened when I was, when I felt like my body was falling apart physically, just feeling not good, nauseous, not sleeping, anxiety, kind of panic attacks in the middle of the night for no reason, right? As I'm experiencing all this, um, I am, like I'm trying to figure out like where is all this coming from, and what is it that I need to do with this? Like what do I do with this? I created this amazing life. My kids seem to be like really happy,
Mm-hmm.
and everybody is getting along. I love, my new husband's family. They love me. We're all having, an
Yeah, it was a
amazing
big
time.
family. I remember
It
that
was
was
a
a
big
pretty big
family.
family.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
And we're all having a great time. And that was the first time that I felt, this is where it gets a little weird, where I heard a voice inside me.
Mm-hmm.
And the voice said to me, you need to leave all this.
Mm-hmm.
And I just didn't know what to do with it. I didn't know what to do with it because I'm thinking, I was arguing with that voice. I was saying, what are you talking about?
Mm-hmm.
I actually had this argument with that voice inside me. I said, what are you talking about? I created this, right? Like I was just like thinking I created the whole thing, right? I created this life, and what are you saying, that I need to leave this? Like, no, this is mine, and I love what I have. I love this new family. I love this new life. I'm not going to give this up.
Yeah. So kind of when we're on a journey like this, like she was on a journey, and right now it sounds like in her story, right at this point, she was at the top of the mountain in her journey. Things seem like they're going relatively well. But yet, something inside of her is speaking to her. Someone is speaking to her saying, this isn't your path. This isn't your journey. And so she's got this pull of, well, wait a minute, I should be enjoying life, but yet internally she didn't feel right. And so then she starts going through, I think you said in your story that you started feeling depressed, tired, and even ill at some point.
Yes.
You just started feeling ill.
Yes.
And I think it's at that point that is at that point that you went to the doctor and started trying to find out what was wrong with you, or how did that happen?
Yes. So what happened was that it just got to a point where I just couldn't keep up anymore. And that's exactly how it felt. I will wake up in the morning and I had no energy to do anything. I was in extreme physical pain. And that kind of like pushed me to say, okay, so what is wrong with me? What is wrong with my body, right? And the only thing that I could think of was, it might be my breast implants, because I used to have breast implants, and there's stories of a lot of women out there that struggle with all these different illnesses, and it comes from the breast implants. So I called a surgeon, I consulted, and I just happened to choose, I consulted with like 3 or 4 different people, 3 or 4 different surgeons, and I happened to pick the one that said, the only one that said to me, you have to get a mammogram because we need to make sure that the breast implants are intact. And I did not want to do a mammogram, just, for just beliefs that I have that they're not good for you. So I went for an MRI. And the MRI came back with 3 lumps.
Yes.
So 3 lumps showed up in the MRI, and so now that we have that report, then the doctor says, okay, the shape of the lumps don't look good, and I think you should go and get a mammogram and an ultrasound, and let's see what that shows. So I went and I got those 2 things done, and it was just getting worse. Now they're saying that it's not only there, that it's seems like there's a lot of spots all over my breast, and that I should have a biopsy. And I get the biopsy, and everything happened within like 2 weeks, right? So then I get the biopsy, and took forever, took like a week. I'm losing my mind, and this week that I'm just like waiting for the results. And I finally, call, and they say they're here. It was a Friday. I still remember. It's like when things like this happen, like you always remember, like where you were and everything, right? Just like in the movies. So it was a Friday, and they said, you have to come in on Monday so we can give you the results, because we don't give results over the phone. And I knew what that meant. When they don't give them over the phone, it's because they're not good news.
Yeah.
And I said, it's Friday. I am not going to wait for Monday. So talk to whoever you need to talk to, but I need the results.
I need to know. Yeah.
And yes, they put me on hold. They came back and they said, I am so sorry, but it came back. The results came back, and it's cancer.
Yeah. So the tumors were malignant.
They were malignant.
Malignant, yeah. So that's kind of the worst, almost one of the worst things any of us could hear, is that you have some cancerous tumors that are active. They're activated. So it's kind of an interesting spot to draw. I mean, if you listen to what Yesenia is explaining to us, it kind of reminds me. In the Bible, it talks about, if anybody's ever read the story of Jacob. Jacob had a family. He had this perfect life, but yet he was challenged that he couldn't have a perfect life, and so it was God kind of said, we're going to test his belief. We're going to test Jacob's belief right now, and we're going to take everything away from him. Now, we haven't gotten to the point yet, but it reminds me a lot of that story about Jacob, which is a fascinating comparison. So let's pick it up now, where you've got the diagnosis, and you've probably shared this with your family at this point. And what was their reaction?
I didn't share immediately with them. I was just in shock. It felt like if I shared, it will be real.
Then it's real. That's a good point.
Real, right? So back then I didn't know, the whole, reasoning behind why I was trying to protect myself from sharing, right? And it was because I didn't want that to be real. So I wanted to keep it, just between my husband and I for as long as I could. And I just didn't see how I could talk to my kids, because in my mind, it was all very scary because of how I felt physically, right? So I'm thinking, well, no wonder, it's cancer, and no wonder it's cancer. I feel so bad. And just, taking a few steps back on the story, before I started doing all this testing, I had a conversation with my husband and I said, I feel like I'm dying.
Mm-hmm.
And that's exactly how I felt. I felt that just like one day I was just not going to be able to, that I was just going to die because I felt so bad, right? So now with the cancer diagnosis, it confirmed that something was terribly wrong with me. So, we went to the doctor together. My husband went with me. And when we're there, it just sounds terrible. It sounds really, really bad. They're saying it's 3 lumps, but it's not only in the lumps, it's all over your breast. And our recommendation is that you remove both breasts. But before you do that, you have to do chemo and radiation you have to have 8 sessions of that, and then the double mastectomy, and then more chemo and radiation after that.
Wow. That's a lot. That's a lot to deal with.
Yes. That was a lot. And when I was there, going back again to like when you are getting that type of news and you just leave. And it's exactly the way that you see it in movies. You know, you like the person that is hearing that, you just check out. You're just not there anymore. You just leave. My mind just, I don't even know. Like, I know that I wasn't thinking anything, or I was just like done. I was done, right? And that voice showed up again in that moment, right? The voice showed up again, and what the voice said to me was, you're not doing any of that. All those recommendations that, doctors that we're supposed to trust, right? I mean, if we don't do what the doctors are saying, then what do we do?
Yes.
Right? Like, how scary is that? So I have this feeling of like, I'm not supposed to do this. And then they're trying to set up an appointment, and we just walk out. And I tell the doctor, I will call back. I will set up an appointment at a later time. Let me just go and process this. We get in the car, and my husband is driving me back home. And he tells me, whatever you decide to do, I will support you. I will support whatever decision you make. And he asked me, he said, what do you want to do? Or, what's the plan? And I just couldn't respond immediately, but then that voice got really loud and very clear in my head. And it said, you're not doing that. That's not for you. It will kill you if you do it. So it was really shocking for me, because I'm thinking, okay, that's very strong. It's not going to allow me to do it. Like, I have no choice. It's not like I'm going to argue with this voice. I'm going to argue with whatever I'm like hearing in my head, or wherever you hear the voice, right? And the scary part was that I had no idea what to do.
Yeah.
I didn't know, if I don't do that, then what do I do, right? And I just looked at him and I said, I'm not doing any of that. And he asked me, so what are you going to do if you're not going to do that? And I said, I have no idea. And we just, drove home.
Yeah.
And the feeling that I had like inside me was, because this is something that I used to like talk to friends about, close friends. I will always say to my friends, I feel like I'm supposed to do something great with my life. And I just don't know what that is. And I don't know how that something great looks like, right?
Right.
And when we are driving home, I look at him, and I'm just like completely just like in disbelief, not in disbelief because I felt so bad, right? I'm like, well, yeah, that confirms why I feel so bad. But more than anything, I'm thinking, and I tell him, I thought I was supposed to do something great with my life. And I thought that was the end. I thought that was not going to happen anymore.
Yeah.
In that moment, I didn't realize that was the moment where that something great was being born, was starting.
Yeah. And that's a good lesson. We're going to take a break right now, but that's a good lesson to kind of think about is, what are the messages that we're receiving and who are we receiving them from? So as we go further and we unpack Yesenia's story, I think it'll start to unfold who this person is that's talking to her, or who these people are that are talking to her, that are giving her guidance. And then, so we'll cover that. But we're going to take a break right now, and we'll be right back.